Welcome to Inventures, the podcast where we invite creative minds to invent the ultimate immersive adventure. My name is Alex, and today we have in the studio a very special guest, Mr. Chris Lattner, founder and the creative director of the Germany-based The Room Laboratories. Chris is part of a multi-award-winning team specialising in themed entertainment and narrative-driven immersive environments, delivering projects all over the world. At the Room Labs, Chris blends experience design, storytelling, game design and engineering to turn big imaginative ideas into real physical worlds you can step inside. Known originally for his top escape rooms like The Lost Treasure of Humboldt and Brandon Darkmoor, his recent projects include the highly ranked adventure games Metropolis 2099, The Tale of the Heartless Pirate, as well as two highly themed immersive workshops at the Augustusburg Castle in Germany called The Elixir of Life and Treasure of the Earth, which also earned the team a Thea Award for Outstanding Achievement. From personal experience, I can say that Chris's keen eye for detail and obsession with quality make every experience he and his team create very, very special indeed. I might add that we're very proud that they have used our COG system on many of their projects and have done things with it that not many can achieve. There you go.
Thank you very much, Alex.
That's all right.
They were nice words. Thank you.
Yeah, that's all right. I like to be nice on the podcast.
I think that was the nicest someone said to me ever.
You're joking, really?
No, yeah, maybe.
Oh, wow.
Could
well,
be.
Well, yeah, I actually wrote that bit, so yeah.
You really did that?
Yeah, that's my words. I must ask, what is your kind of favourite attraction that you've ever been to? What's the one you keep thinking about?
That's very easy. It is Magic Universe from Madland in Madrid.
Okay.
We just recently played it, and I cried twice during the experience because it was so good.
It's an escape room.
I wouldn't call it escape room.
Okay.
It's 50% proper stage acting, like proper stage acting. Two actors performing 6 different roles, full costume. Over 1,000 square meters, fully built sets, mind-blowing. Magic tricks in there, huge effects, huge mechanical effects. It is an amazing experience. I must mention something else, which is Alien War. That was early
Yes.
90s.
So this is way back.
Yeah, early 90s. I'm that old. So that ignited my love for those kind of experiences. That was way before the word immersive experience even existed.
Right. This is
and that was mind-blowing.
Yeah, so those who don't know what Alien War is, Alien War was essentially immersive experience that wasn't called immersive yet at the Trocadero in London. And it was the IP of Alien, the actual IP of Alien,
Correct.
Official, even to the point that Sigourney Weaver opened the attraction. They had sets and props from the film, and it was essentially a kind of war game that you played. Like it was like Aliens rather than Alien, I guess.
Actually, it was more like a zombie run, what we call zombie run today. You were just chased by aliens, and you were just running around corridors
Right, it was so simple in a way. I remember I saw a very brief documentary about it, and they didn't call it immersive; they called it total reality.
Yeah,
interestingly. What was the thing when you were younger that kind of captured your imagination in that world?
It was definitely pen and paper roleplay games.
Right.
Well, when I was young, age of 10, 11, 12, we played tons of pen and paper roleplay games. Not that much D&D, because D&D wasn't that popular in Germany. And back then, it was exactly the same things I do today. I created dungeons, I put in traps, I put in puzzles, I put in monsters and creatures, and I wrote storylines about different characters. You had to interact with those characters. It was exactly the same as I'm doing now. Now I'm able to build those things physically. But I was always like that as a child, like sitting in my room, just drawing dungeons. That was my passion. I did that a lot.
So I know you were a DJ for quite a few years.
Quite a few years, 28 years.
Yeah. And you were also in the army, right?
Yeah, 8 years. Yeah. 8 years in the army, 4 years in war zones. That was immersive as well.
Yeah, I bet it was.
In a different way.
And so, I mean, we won't dwell on those careers because we could be here forever, but it's more that, like, at what point Did you realise that you wanted to come? That when you saw there was a career in themed entertainment for you, and it could tap back into that younger self who was playing those pen and paper games.
Oh, it started very small with geocaching. We built quite elaborate geocaches, which already had storylines which you could follow. They were quite long, 6 to 7 hours at night, many different stages, many different puzzles, and each of the stage revealed a new part of a narrative. But then in 2012, 2010, 2011, I played my very first escape room here in London at Euston Station. It was, I can't remember the name.
Oh, was it the
Hint? No.
Hint Hunt? Yes, that was my first escape room. That was
John Munro's office.
Yes.
Yes.
So you started with geocaching, and then you played the same game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So of course I watched games like The Crystal Maze. I watched Fort Boyard.
Yeah.
So I knew already about those games on TV, and then, as you said, playing this the first time myself, that was just very cool. I never felt like I'm part of a storyline or something, because it wasn't like that back then. There were no escape rooms in Germany back then, or maybe there was one in Cologne, but not in Berlin. Berlin had one, but it was a pop-up game in a back room of a bar, of a Hungarian bar. And we went there, and it was just like 2, 3, 4 army boxes with locks. And even that was kind of fun, to open those locks by solving puzzles. And we were like, yeah, we should do that. And I explained them how the game was in London. And we were like, could we do it better? Could we really theme it?
Because you are very much of the school of an immersive environment down to the last detail, basically. You obviously leave still some to the imagination, but the actual physical environment around you has to be as real as possible.
Yeah. If something is not right, I wouldn't call it immersive, because then the immersion is gone. Brandon Darkmoor starts in an old abandoned asylum in the basement. And at what point in the game the players take a lift to the 7th floor, and later in the game to the 13th floor. And as everything feels so real within that environment, they truly believe that this elevator takes them to the 7th floor, and later they have to go to the 13th floor, and the buttons just show 10 floors, and then they're discussing in the elevator like, what should we do, it's just 10 floors, okay, let's go to the 10th and walk the rest. And they say that and mean that, so they are fully immersed in the story, in that environment, that they truly believe that there's a 13th floor in that building. The actual building has only 2 stories. I think trying to mimic reality as much as possible is one of our unique selling points.
I think because at that point it's almost a magic trick, right? You're trying to pull on the audience.
Yep.
Essentially, not just the lift, the whole experience. That the trick is you believed it was real, at least even for a moment.
100%.
And I think that's when you can truly point to something as immersive as you say. You can't, if you felt like that you doubted yourself even for a moment, that's immersion.
Yeah.
And that's what you see when the card disappears from the magician's hand, right?
100%.
You're like, for an immediate moment, you're just like, I can't explain.
Yeah.
Obviously, then the rational brain can kick in,
but if you never did a card trick or coin magic, you will not figure out how it's done. You just learn about it when you start reading about it, and then you know how magicians do that. Until then, you believe the coin is still in that hand. Till he opens it, it's gone.
I wonder how that came into your head as like, why is that the most important thing to you? Because obviously there are many ways to design a room or a show or wherever where you can be like, we could just make a black box and do something very like abstract. But for you, it's interesting. Like, why do you think you've hit upon that strand of immersion?
I think it's because I'm German. Germans don't like active entertainment. They like passive entertainment, like sitting in a theater or in a cinema and watching something. They don't like to act themselves. When I'm in a perfect environment, I thought I would feel like, oh, now I can be that person I should be in that environment. If something is not right in that environment, it drags me out of the immersion, and suspense of a disbelief isn't given anymore. So I can't act anymore like the character I should be.
So essentially, like, it's permission to play. You're like, okay, I've got everything I need now to pretend to be the character I want to be.
Yeah.
And if you dare put anything out of place, then it will just ruin it for me, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah. And so, okay, this brings me to my big question of this podcast.
Oh my God.
Which is, if I were to remove budget, time, and even physics, although you can have physics if you want, what immersive attraction would you create? Where would it be, and how would you immerse the audience?
I would like to create a scavenger hunt around the globe. And it starts very simple with the letter, and this letter tells you, like, go to the airport, take flight, whatever, and from there on the game starts. Like the film The Game with Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
Something like that would be amazing. So what we always created is something we would like to experience ourselves. And this is something I would like to experience myself, that the line between reality and fiction just blurs completely, and you don't know what is real and what's not. And that will be a dream. I think it is never possible to do something like that. But that will be just amazing, just to travel around the globe, and wherever you are, there is something hidden for you, a clue. You meet characters there. That would be really, really cool.
Because there have
proper
been
adventure.
Because there have been, I think, television shows that have done similar things with, like, that idea of you need to get to from this. They'll drop you in the middle of nowhere with a blindfold.
Yeah.
And you have a team. Maybe someone knows some languages. Maybe you have a couple of clues, but you don't know where you are, and you have to find your way back to Trafalgar Square. I think it was called Lost. It was before the TV show Lost came out. I always loved that idea of that show, going the sort of the task, the puzzle, the adventure is getting home in any which way you can. I think they have like £100 or something like that. Mm-hmm. But yours is a bit more than that, in that you mentioned the game, which is essentially like that as you go to these places, there are actors everywhere.
Yeah.
And you don't know who is an actor, who is not an actor. You don't know what is real and what isn't real. You're in the world as it is. But you're constantly questioning what's going on.
But there's also a narrative, and that could be anything. It could be an adventure that somehow you get dragged into something where you have to retrieve the Holy Grail out of a cave in India, whatever. And then you go there, you find it, and that leads you to the next thing. It could be a kind of espionage storyline. It could be anything. But it has to be a storyline you are following, and you're dragged into that storyline very slowly but steadily. And while you're doing it, you question yourself, like, is this real, or is it still a game? If I would design it, I would do some research about that person beforehand, and then the game would fit that person. I wouldn't do those bad things like in the film. It should be always adventurous. It should be fun doing those games. It should be like some things questionable, but never too bad that it's still fun to move on and to see more of that game.
So never horrific. Because that's the thing. That's what the game plays with it. He sees people die. He sees people get hurt. Police turn up, and he's just it's like a horror movie playing out. But with this, it's much more like, no, you're going to be like Indiana Jones, basically.
Could be. There could be someone dying, but that shouldn't affect you as a person. You might see someone dying on the opposite side of the street because you're watching something. That could happen, but that shouldn't affect you personally. While in in the film, it's always characters who die who are close to him, and this is something I personally wouldn't do.
Mm-hmm. Right. So as you venture around the world, so you're given a mission and says, like, okay, we need to retrieve the Holy Grail, and then the gameplay would be you working out how to do this, essentially, and knowing what characters to talk to. And I mean, this game could last months, possibly,
maybe
years of your life.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, you'd have to be very rich to play this game.
You said money doesn't count.
Well, yeah, it doesn't exactly. Yeah, but I think as a punter,
yeah.
I never said they had unlimited money, but yeah, but I think, I suppose if it's a free experience...
The game will be a free experience.
Yeah, the game will be a free experience.
Yeah.
You have one objective, which is, say, find the Holy Grail. If you find the Holy Grail, do you complete the game and the game is over? Or is it like you have the opportunity to keep playing?
I didn't think about that. I think a game has to have an end at some point. Every game has to have an end. But actually, there are some PlayStation games I play forever. Those open world games.
Well, I can imagine, you could become obsessed with a game like this.
Yeah.
You know, you can almost say you've made an addictive substance there. And with a game like this, I can imagine it could be quite addictive in that, like, if you were to play the game and maybe you were to complete, I don't know, level 1, which is find the, I don't know, Holy Grail possibly, and then you find the Holy Grail and he's like, okay, and then the character would say, like, but we now need to find this next thing. Would you want to come with me on this adventure? And that means, do I want to keep playing? If
the game is for free, it wouldn't hurt the person, right?
I suppose it might if they were taken away from their life or loved ones for quite a long period of time, which again happens in computer games, I suppose, but people get very obsessed with them. But this is like you're living it in the world. That's the other thing. I suppose also, would you ever want to return to the real world? And would you ever you'd be questioning, say if you met someone on the trip and you fell in love with them, but you didn't know that they were a character or not, wouldn't that drive you nuts? Like, just not knowing?
Yeah, so I think it's quite comparable to what I experienced in the army when we were deployed onto missions for a couple of weeks or months. We were a team very closely bonded together. And when you came home, you started missing those people. It's not very rational because you did a job there. The job wasn't nice. But it's not very rational that you start missing that life, which is not the real world. It's something else if you are in those kind of environments. And yeah, it can be highly addictive. I mean, that's a moral question.
It's an interesting one, yeah.
Like, where would you stop a game like that? I didn't think about that because I never designed a game like that. You just asked me what would I do, and that would be a way like that. That could be something I would like to work on. I think if you really want to design something like that, there should be a mechanism in place, like in the army, that before you are able to play that game, you are going through psychology tests to just understand if that person is...
If you could take the game, basically.
Yes.
If I was, say, I'm an eccentric millionaire.
Yeah.
And I said, or billionaire.
Yeah.
Of which I know you know a few anyway. And I said, I love this idea of making your game. I want to do some version of it.
Yeah.
Like, I will give you an amount of money to do it, and enough money to do it to a certain extent. Yeah. Is it possible, do you think?
I think it is possible. You just have to scale it down to maybe just a city, maybe just in Berlin, just in... I mean, it has been done. Carbaroy from Punch Drunk was that kind of format. So it is possible. I know that something existed in, was it New York or Los Angeles? There were geocaches which worked that way. I remember a geocache in Frankfurt. I think it was called 24 or something. You had to have two teams. One is an outdoor team and one is an indoor team. The indoor team, we rented a space in a hotel and we set up a large screen, and the outdoor team had GPS trackers, and we saw them. We were on a computer, and we got their task on the computer, like take the next bus, line 27 at 5:05. If they are late, they have to stop the game and restart the game at exactly the same time on the next day. And the whole game took 24 hours.
Wow. So if they miss that bus,
If they miss that bus, they have
No
to
game.
stop the game and continue the next day at the same time and take that bus at 5:05. You reach, for example, the task was take bus 27 for 4 stops that direction. Then you get off the bus, and it was look at this sign, and the sign, okay, that's the sign, and on that sign there was something written, a puzzle. You had to report the solution of that puzzle to the indoor team. They typed it into the computer, and then they got the next advice, like, okay, now run towards that and that street, and because there is a bus going there. That was fun, or subway or train, or
so you had like a mission control
Yes,
team and
yes.
a team out in the field.
yes,
But you are genuinely in reality as well.
Yeah.
And buses are real, bus times are real.
yeah.
You have to, you
Yeah.
have to do those things.
There was no interaction with characters, but it wasn't needed because you were just in a rush, and it was always timed like that. You can barely make it, and it was fun. It was really fun.
Maybe I'm not the richest billionaire. Let's say that I've only got 30 or even 10 actors. Let's say 10 actors. Could it be possible, or could you do it with just one actor? Like,
So if I would design a game like that, I would just incorporate real people, like shop owners, bartenders, into that game, because then you don't need extra actors. You have, let's say, 5 to 10 actors plus 10 to 15 people who own shops or live somewhere. You could go to an apartment, ring the doorbell, and ask for Mrs. Miller, right? And she's there and gives you the next clue because she's in the game, but she's not an actor. She's just paid a small amount of money because Mrs. Miller is 75 years old. Her pension is quite low, so
I love how you're so idealistic. I mean, so Hidden City tried to do this. So do you know Hidden City?
yeah. I heard of
So they
it.
do scavenger hunts in London, and
But just phone based, right?
it's all on the phone. It's all done cryptic clues. You run around London. They are quite fun. And one of the things they do is exactly that. They co-opt people in bars to do little bits, and they give over puzzles and stuff. It's mixed in terms of like how quality you get, because obviously these people might have a vested interest if they own a bar or something, but Mrs Miggins, whatever, like number 21, might not be in that day, or like, it might be like sleep in or be deaf and can't hear you knock on the door, or God forbid isn't alive when you come around. So like, I guess yeah, like I think also might just be awful at acting, or whatever. Or do you not think that matters?
I think that is solvable. So whenever we put in characters into the experiences we create, especially the ones in the ones in Bad Stephen, where we don't have proper stage actors. There's no access to proper stage actors in that area. We have to design the characters in a way that everyone can play them. So they have to be as close to their real self as possible. That they don't have to act. We started that method with Brendan Darkmore, where the game master could create his own role, which fits him as a character, as a person. By doing that, she doesn't have to play Mrs. Miller. She just is Mrs. Miller, and doing what Mrs. Miller would do. If Mrs. Miller is not at home, that could happen. then the game has to have a plan B and a plan C. What happens if Mrs. Miller is not at home? Then your phone rings and you get another.
Okay, so the game is essentially understood every possible scenario here.
Yeah. But this is how we design the experiences we create as well. There's always a fallback solution, like if something tech is not working, then what happens, right? So you have to have one or two fallback solutions in case something is broken, something breaks right within that game, because it's just tech or it's just props. They can break at any given time, even if you do constant maintenance. So we already put lots of thinking into that as well.
Okay, so essentially what you're saying is, yes, it is possible.
I think it is totally possible.
And you would do it.
It's commercially not viable.
No, probably not. Unless, again, it's for people, very rich people who want to come play. But
or you do it as a TV show.
Right, yeah. It's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yep.
If you were to take any movie, IP, TV show, book,
yeah,
and to make a live experience out of it,
yeah.
A, what would that be? What would be
Yeah.
what would be your fantasy one that you want to do? And B,
Yeah.
like, would you do anything different to the movie or the story?
So what would it be? It would be definitely Potter.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter or kind of magical world. Because the magical world gives you freedom, like no other theme would give you. In a magical world, you can do everything. You can do a funny experience. You can have a scary experience. You can have an adventurous experience. You can do whatever you like within that theme, and it's still fantastical and is accessible for literally every human being, in my opinion. Because
Yeah, it is kind of a perfect IP.
yeah, because magic in general. There are, of course, people who don't like Harry Potter who don't like magic, but in general, I would say that Harry Potter is the perfect IP to create any experience.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone put it that way, but you're so right that it has so many facets to it that kind of can please anyone. And you can obviously you have magic, which gives you endless possibility in terms of stuff to do.
You can do even time travel.
You can do time travel, and they do.
Yeah, they do,
and they do a lot. But they also have it's a fantasy world which is quite clearly bound.
Mm-hmm.
It has rules. It's a world that's like our own, or exists within our own, but it isn't. Which again, is very accessible. And you've also you've got horror, you've got adventure, you've got drama, you've got you've got it all. So right, okay, so you've got Harry Potter. So what are you going to do with it?
I mean, actually, Magic Universe did it almost perfectly. Like how they transfer you into the magic world, what's going on in that magic world. Just go there, play Magic Universe. I wouldn't do anything different. The thought they put into the narrative is amazing in terms of replayability in future time. Yes, Magic Universe, the game in Madrid.
So if I was Universal,
Well,
Universal or Warner.
It's Warner, right?
Warner own it, but Universal probably build it. Either one would say, okay, Chris, I want you to make the Harry Potter game.
Yeah.
At City Walk. To go alongside our other brilliant games.
Oh,
yeah. Jurassic World.
Maybe they should shut down.
Yeah, maybe they should shut those ones down and just have yours. But essentially, the Potter experience, we would call it. Do you think you could deliver that? Do you think you could
100%?
Yeah,
100%.
Or could you take over the Wizarding World at Universal?
That will be amazing.
Of an evening.
That will be amazing to have games in there which you could find. So maybe the game just starts randomly. Someone just talks to you and gives you a clue, go there, look at this, and there you find the next clue, and then you enter a secret room. Yeah, I mean that would be amazing for kids and children, and It doesn't have to be Harry Potter itself. It just needs to be that magical world that J.K. Rowling created. And I wouldn't necessarily do an experience with the characters, but something within that world. But it's not specifically Harry Potter with the character Harry Potter and Hermione and Ron. Because
you can go to the rides if you want to go see that, or
you can go to the rides, and I think you can't create this believably that they are really there. Even in the rides, it doesn't feel like they are there. So why creating something which is so difficult to achieve that you believe that Ron is just standing in front of me? Why not taking something else out of that world which is way more believable than recreating the characters? The best example was in the Back to the Future escape room. Like, did you believe that Doc Brown is outside?
Of course not, no.
No, of course not.
I mean, it was all done in voiceover, and...
No, you saw the shadow.
Only saw his shadow. And he did sound very ill, because apparently he'd had COVID or something like the week before.
Yeah.
So he sounds like, oh, you got to get into the time vehicle. He's like, oh my God, he's like that close to death.
Yeah.
Doc. But yeah, no, I didn't believe he was there. Yeah. And I think this is probably why a lot of these big rides and attractions shy away from putting the big characters in them. Yeah. Possibly because someone says this, like Smuggler's Run, for example. You're getting in the Falcon. Yeah. I've always moaned that you're just like, where the hell is Han and Chewie? Yeah. I do obviously love those characters and I want to see them around, but they don't do that. They go, here's a character that you've never met before, and you're going to go, essentially go on this run to find some coaxium. You're basically just sort of space truckers trying to find some stuff. Yeah. And I've always kind of moaned that that's kind of like, why is it not exciting enough? Maybe it's not exciting enough. I mean, for me, the best part of that ride is going to hyperspace. That's just the best bit of anything ever in Disney. But essentially, I don't know, maybe that's a good, you're kind of sort of spinning it on its head for me, and that like actually maybe it's better to not look at the main characters because you know they're not real.
I think it depends. If you are on a ride, then a ride is not an immersive attraction. It cannot be, because you always know that you are strapped in onto a seat and you are dragged through an attraction, a dark ride, a roller coaster, whatever. So in that case, it is totally fine to show the main characters because you don't believe that this is real anyway. But if you're creating an immersive experience, which should be fully immersive, then it doesn't make sense to put in the main characters because that bit will drag you out of the immersion just instantly, because you know Hermione is not there.
This comes back to your original point of the details. Yeah. In that, unless you can get Emma Watson, don't do it, basically.
I don't think she will do it ever again.
No. Well, if budget didn't exist, she must have a price.
I don't think so.
But yeah, I mean, maybe no. She probably. I think she's checked out. But I think basically, yeah, I can see your point in terms of like in an immersive show. If it's a show, I can see where that makes sense. And actually, in the Stranger Things experience, which I did in Dallas last week, none of the main characters are in it at all. Yeah. Apart from you hear Dustin on a radio at one point,
and that's fine.
And I actually thought it possibly was at its detriment, but now actually maybe I'm rethinking it. In that, like, someone would have said we could do that. We could have actors playing these parts, but they might not be very good. AI. We could have screens. We could have AI. We could do lots of things. And unless we have genuine, like, almost exact replicants playing these, which maybe we'll get to
one day.
Yeah, one day. You know, and I have this discussion a lot on this podcast of like essentially what we're heading towards is Westworld, and that's probably the nth degree of entertainment. But like, we're a long way from that. So essentially, I think once we're there, they must say like, no, enjoy the films, enjoy the characters as they are. Yeah. But we're not going to touch them. We're just going to do some world building around that. Yeah. And yeah, I think I quite like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think as a viewer of films, you would like to be in Hogwarts Castle. Would you like to meet Ron? Of course, if he's around, you would like to meet him. But it would be also very joyful just to be there in that castle to eat chocolate frogs and
just to spend time in Hogwarts. So, what's one piece of advice you would give someone dreaming up their own immersive experience?
You mean if someone wants to create immersive experiences, learn your trades and learn other trades. Before starting creating something, you have to understand what you're doing. So things like architecture, drama school, being a magician, stage magic, learning about electricity and being learning the job as an electrician, something like that is very, very helpful. You should be able to understand laws of physics. You should have basic knowledge in lighting, in sound, in stage acting, in all those things. So stage magic is the combination of all those traits. And this is what you should learn first before you start creating worlds and copywriting. Learn to love criticism. That is the most important skill, that you don't take criticism personally. You should listen to if someone is criticizing you or your work, and you should understand that this has nothing to do with you personally. It's someone experiencing your work and has some problems with it. You listen to it, and then you can decide yourself, do you have to change things or not? But listening to criticism and starting to like or even love criticism is the only way to move forward. It is definitely the only way.
Right, and essentially it's just information at the end of the day.
It's just information.
It's nothing to do with you, as you say.
100%.
And essentially, and I have definitely suffered for this in the past, of taking it personally. And then,
Me too.
And it's a sort of skill even in and of itself, being able to take criticism.
It took me years.
And then also, even then, once you have the criticism, you have the feedback, you take it with grace.
Yeah.
And then you decide what you want to do with it. That's really where the skill is as well, I think, is understanding what bits of it to follow and what bits of it to leave because you believe in your idea.
Yes. And criticism can hurt. And in some cases, it should even hurt. If you made a major mistake, it should hurt. But it's not a problem. You will overcome it, learn from it, and say, okay, I learned something. I don't do it like this. Next time I do it like that. And that's the only way to learn and move forward.
Right. Well, I have no criticism
good.
on your work.
That's good.
No, I will criticise your work if you want me to.
Yeah, of course.
I must mention that you have been called on occasion the Gordon Ramsay of escape rooms, i.e. that you are quite critical. And you have no problem telling people of your criticism. And you do it in a quite amusing, acerbic way, like Gordon Ramsay. And I do have a dream one day to make a TV show with you called Lattner's Escape Room Nightmares.
Okay.
Where
good.
we go around the world going to failing escape rooms.
Let's do that.
You play it, and then you eviscerate them publicly on television. And then we fix it. And we.
I could do that.
Yeah.
I could definitely do that. I'm pretty certain that I could fix almost any failing escape room.
This is great. Come on, give us the money to do this. As you say, taking criticism is very hard. I think a lot of escape room owners are very bad at taking criticism. Hence, the sparks of the television show will fly.
But I fully understand that, because most escape room owners create their own experiences, their own escape rooms, and it's like your baby. And if someone is there who tells you like, oh my God, your baby is fairly ugly, that's something you don't want to hear, even if it's true, because you think your baby isn't ugly. One important thing is also, don't ask your friends if how they like the thing you created. Ask your enemy, because he will be honest. Your friends mostly aren't. And even us, during creating whatever, we get to a point where we can't judge anymore if what we are doing is any good or not, because you are so close to your project. You need an outside view to tell you like, oh, I think this is where you lost your path, because you won't notice it. Even if you're the best designer in the world, I think there's always a point where you need an outside opinion, like a truly outside opinion.
So yeah, anyway, I know we waffled on a bit more there, but that was very good. Right, thanks for stepping into the Inventures workshop, Chris. And thanks to you for watching and or listening. You can subscribe to the Cogs Lab, where maybe you're watching this, or you can go onto Spotify and listen to or watch on there. On the Cogs Lab, we like to mess around with cogs quite a lot. So recently we built all the Home Alone traps on cogs. We also cogsified a Monopoly board. So yeah, we like to mess around with cogs to show people how it works, and it's lots of fun. So you can also follow us on Instagram and on TikTok at cogs.show if you want to see what we're doing on a daily basis. And you can also follow me. I'm the Inventurer on Instagram. So yes, thank you for watching, and you can join us on our next Inventure.